Alright guys, welcome to this page of the notes. I had so much fun doing the last one with you. Let's try another. Here we go. I have given you a diagram. There are several pieces of information given to you in the diagram, which I'm sure will be very helpful in starting off to help us find the measure of arc WX. We need to find the measure of arc WX. Here it is right here. There's arc WX. Please notice that arc WX is the arc that's created by the inscribed angle over here, which I've given you. So this is going to be the inscribed angle theorem. I know that the measure of angle XZW, which I've given you is 90 degrees, has to be equal to 1/2 the measure of the arc. The measure of arc WX, which is what I'm asking you to find. Well, what is the measure of the angle? I gave it to you in the diagram. It's 9 degrees. That's equal to 1/2 the measure of arc WX. How do I solve for the measure of arc WX? Yeah, multiply the 2 to the other side. 2 times 9 degrees, the measure of arc WX, which means I get the measure of arc WX is 18. Let me erase all that so that I have space so I'm not squeezing on you. So I have the measure of arc WX is 18 degrees. Fantastic. Let me erase that. Let's move on to the next part. I want you to find the measure of arc XZ. The measure of arc XZ. Okay, here we go. It's this guy right over here. All right, well, real quick, please notice WZ is a diameter, which means the arc WZ is 180 degrees. So, the measure of arc WZ is 180 degrees. It's 180 degrees. Why? Because it is a semicircle. You say, hang on a second, why does that matter? That's not what I asked you to find. You're right. But look, we just found WX. We just found WX. Well, how do I get the measure WZ? I add them together. So here we go. The measure of arc WZ is equal to the measure of WX, right, which I just found, plus the measure of XZ. Look, I know the measure of WZ. It's a semicircle. It's 180 degrees. And I know the measure of WX. I just found it. It's 18 degrees, which means the only thing I don't know, XZ. It's an arc addition postulate problem. 180 degrees is equal to 18 degrees plus, I don't know, that's what I'm looking for. Subtract the 18 to the other side, and you guys wind up getting the measure of arc XZ is equal to 180. 180 minus 18 is going to be 162 degrees. And let me go ahead and erase all of this so that I have space, so I'm not squeezing on you guys here. And we're going to move on to the next problem. Although I will, now that I have found that, let me go ahead and write that guy in there because I don't think he's going to be in the way. If I write 162 degrees is the measure of XZ. Okay, what do I ask you to find next? Ooh, interesting. I ask you to find the measure of the angle, XWZ. I want to know what is the measure of this angle right here. Please notice that that angle creates that arc, right? W is the inscribed angle. That angle W, well, that angle XWZ is the inscribed angle that creates the arc XZ, which is what we just found. So the measure of angle XWZ XWZ is the inscribed angle for the arc XZ. So it has to be equal to 1/2 of the measure of arc XZ, which we know. We just found it. Here we go. The measure of angle XWZ is equal to 1/2 162 degrees. So 162 degrees, divide by 2, and you should get 81 degrees. So the measure of XWZ, that angle, that inscribed angle, it's 81 degrees. All right, I ask you to solve for one more thing. Here we go. Get rid of that, get rid of that. Let me redraw that arc in there because that is the measure of XZ. And let's see what they ask me to solve for next. I want to know what is the measure of WXZ. WXZ. So now I want you to find this guy right here. Please notice that guy, right, X, if X is the inscribed angle, it has this chord right here and this chord right here. Right? Please notice that chord X to W, that endpoint is on a diameter. X to Z, that endpoint is on a diameter, which means it sweeps out this arc right here. I know that arc is 180 degrees, and just like in the problem above, what we see is the inscribed angle of a diameter theorem. Right? Why? Well, look, right? WZ is a diameter, and WZ are the endpoints of the chords created by this inscribed angle of X. Since that's 180 degrees, what does the measure of the angle have to be? It has to be 90 degrees. So the measure of angle X, nope, sorry, not X, WXZ must be 90 degrees thanks to the inscribed angle of a diameter theorem, right? Because that inscribed angle X, the endpoints of the chords are on the diameter. Okay, head on over to the next page of the notes. I got a few more of these problems for us to try, and I'll meet you guys there.